game tonight? What's this?
That's the bar
This is an intimate group.
Is the intimate group?
Yes.
Hello, this is Mark from Green, Global Real Estate Education Network. We're here with our intimate group, but these are the 8 players in Nashville. These guys buy fast and furious, just like I do. This morning we had a new trainer, Sharon Restrepo, who was going to do a little segment called Steals and Deals, where she's going to present the properties that she has locked up in West Palm and north and south of West Palm, Florida. I tagged on the back of that with the stuff that we had, three properties that Steve and I have. And I am trying to build on that with the guys in Florida and anywhere. So if we can get members, anybody can watch, but I want members to be the ones who be able to present. But we want to build a national bulletin board, live interactive bulletin board of properties out there. She can upload contracts and download them, and she showed all kinds of documentation, pictures, and so did we. This would be a great benefit to Green, where people can actually see the property. I mean, yeah, we teach about how to buy properties. Now we actually have hands-on. All you have to do is say yes, and this is why I said yes the first day. I want to show people that yes, all you got to do is say yes, you got a property. You know, I like to lead by example. So Sharon put that on today, and it was just fabulous. It was a great start. We liked it. You were a great presenter. Sharon also did something like this earlier from 4 or 5 years ago, but the technology wasn't there, and she had to do it in print, which makes it so much harder. Like it's not hard now, but. So we're glad to have Sharon Restrepo on now to present. What are you going to present today? What do you have here? You're not doing Steals and Deals again, are you?
No. My latest book is called Exposing the Truth Behind the Lies of Real Estate Investing, and I was just going to talk about a couple of points from there.
How many books do you have out there right now?
I don't know. Quite a few.
Wow, nice. So another author. And realtor, broker, and investor extraordinaire, Sharon Restrepo.
All right.
Thank you guys for having me. I wish I was there. I love Nashville. Anyway, yeah, thank you. I was going to say, can I see you guys? How are you? Can I hear you guys too?
Yeah. Thanks, Sharon.
Good. Nice to be with you. All right, so let me refresh myself on this technology you guys have. This is pretty awesome. So anyway, since you guys don't know anything about me, I'll give you a little bit of history on who I am and where I came from. And although this isn't the actual first house I did, it reminds me of it. But I started investing when I was 25 years old, and that was 25 years ago. And I bought my first fixer-upper down here in South Florida. This is where I was born, and this is where I invest. So my passion is real estate. I love everything about it. And so I'm excited to be part of what you guys are doing and join you when I can. And anyway, for me, I started, I actually married young. I married my high school sweetheart when I was 16. And he dreamed of being a real estate investor. He wanted to, buy houses, work for himself. And but I grew up in a home where my father taught that, anything like that is risk and it's ridiculous and you don't take risk with your money. And so he said, go to trade school, learn a trade, and, that's what you're going to do the rest of your life. And so needless to say, I met my first husband when I was 16, and this is what he wanted to do. We got married, and he just continued to try to talk me into it. But I just wouldn't leave this whole, I'm too afraid, it's a risk, I can't do it, till he finally came up with a plan that was, I could do. So he came up with this slow, drawn out, long plan, not an overnight jump into real estate thing. And I agreed. And so he said, hey, let's take our own home. We bought a home that had equity because we bought a new construction property. And he said, let's sell this home, take our equity, buy a fixer-upper, move into it, and fix it up, sell it, take the equity, and do this continually, do it over several times until we own our own home free and clear. And at which point I could quit my job and then we could focus on doing this full time. So a very slow, take away the risk kind of process. So just to be sure, I said, well, let me go to school at night and get all these licenses I probably need to have in order to do this. So he said, okay, fine, go ahead. So I went to school at night and I got my agent's license and then my broker's license and my CAM license, and you name it, if there was a license for it, I thought I had to have it. Meanwhile, during the day, I was working for a commercial real estate investment company. They were actually taking over rundown and foreclosed shopping centers, renovating them, leasing them out, and then keeping them or selling them for huge profits. And I worked for their in-house counsel, so I did all of the paperwork part of the deal. And although I loved what I did, I really couldn't stand the people I was doing it for. So anyway, I finally got all the licenses, and my husband and I literally listed our home, the sign went in the yard, and 2 weeks later, my husband was killed in an accident. Oh. So now I'm 26 years old, and I'm facing life just completely alone and wondering, how am I going to go do this by myself? And so I was depressed and miserable, and literally my two choices was, I'm going to dive into real estate or I'm literally going to kill myself, because this is too much pain. I can't even imagine. It was absolutely horrible. And fortunately, you can tell which decision I made. I jumped into real estate. I named a company after him, and I just ate and breathed and lived real estate. I bought this home that was in the worst shape of any home that I have ever bought to date. And my family was going to have me committed. It was that bad. But I think it just resonated with my emotional state at the time. I made every mistake on that first house, and I still made a few bucks when I sold it. But after I left that closing, I went back to the job I thought I was going to keep for the security of a paycheck and insurance and all the reasons people think they need to keep their job. And I gave my 2-hour notice and I walked out. And that was the next best decision I ever made. So in my first year of real estate, I bought and sold 3 properties, and I made the same amount of money in that first year as I had made in my last year as working as a paralegal for them. So I was pretty happy because there weren't any type of technology to find information. There was no online, there was no internet, there was no cell phones and instant information. It was just, make your mistakes and learn from them. And that's pretty much what I did. And RIAs were a couple years old. Real Estate Investment Associations were just a couple years old. And I was attending all of them. And that is where I was meeting people and networking. And that's how I began to build my business. So that was, basically 25 years ago now. And now look, RIAs are online, and we're together tonight from 2 different parts of the country. So it's pretty awesome. And, so I'm very happy that I stayed in the business and did what I did. And I love what I do. Since then, I remarried to my husband, Juan. He calls himself the one and only. And we have 2 boys now that are 7 and 9, and they have a company called Wisdom Kids Properties, and they invest in rentals. So they have about 5 rental properties now. And I certainly wish that would have been my upbringing instead of don't ever risk anything. So anyway, life is good today. And like I said, I'm happy to be with you. So after I was, buying and selling and doing those things 25 years ago, there was no women doing it. And if there were, I didn't meet any. And so a lot of the men that ran the groups would ask if I would speak, if I would at least be a warm-up speaker, if I would do or say anything, because if the men could see that a woman was doing it, or a young girl at the time, they would all go do it. They would see they could do it. So I was like, okay, that sounds great. So I started writing. People would say, well, teach us how to do this, and I would write it. And so that's how all the authoring and teaching and everything just took off over the course of the years, to where I've traveled all over the United States teaching on various topics. And my latest book that was published last year is called Exposing the Truth Behind the Lies of Real Estate Investing. And basically I've taken the top 10 most common questions that people think one way, especially that are getting into real estate investing. And I put them into one book to really, from my perspective, help new investors just point their mind in the right place. And, you know, most of our blockages start in our mind. And so the top 3 are, you know, I don't need a real estate license, I don't need special training, and if it feels like a good deal, we'll just jump into it. So I don't have a whole lot of time with you guys tonight, so that's why I picked 3. So let's just get into it here. I am a big believer in having a real estate license. You know, like I said, I had mine before I started investing, so I didn't know otherwise. And I know there's a lot of gurus and teachers that say you don't need your license, don't get it. And it's true, you do not need your license. However, with the license, I make substantially more money than someone without a license. So my pros and cons for that, or this is just a few, there's a lot, is that, you know, there's credibility with other agents. And even though I'm giving them all their commission, I'm calling on their deals, I'm networking with them, there is more credibility in me having a license working with another agent. And I found that to be true over and over and over again, where they would choose to work with me and give me a property over someone who was unlicensed. Of course, the con would be there's a cost to having your license, and there's a cost to doing business, and I just chalk this up as one of those costs. Access to the MLS, the multiple listing service, is one of the most amazing softwares. Software that you can use for real estate anywhere in the country. The information that the MLS gives us and the different ways we can search and set up searches and get real-time information rather than waiting on public record to reveal something is tremendous. Getting real-time comps, seeing pictures of what's sold, just the access to the MLS information it definitely changes your game. The other con is you're considered an expert, so you have to disclose in all your paperwork and all your offers that you have your real estate license. The Board of Realtors offers all types of training, all types of networking opportunities. There's a lot of education, and I know you guys are big on education. And so I think that that's really important as well. And then, of course, the other con is, following all the rules surrounding having your license. And then the pro, of course, is my big point to doing it, is absolutely earning more money. And the con would be figuring out how to account that extra money. But when, for example, if I'm pushing somebody's property, and I see people do this all the time without a license, but, all they got to do is get caught once, it's $5,000 fine down here and jail time. So if somebody calls me up, and Mark calls me up and says, hey, Sharon, I got a property under contract in Fort Lauderdale, can you flip it to your list for me? And I can say, great, let me add on some money and put it out there. If I don't have a license, I cannot do that legally. By having the license, I can hook people up with properties all over the place down here and make the difference and make the spread. And that's one of the big differences in having your license, and why I think, especially, I work with a lot of new investors, helping them get started. And so by encouraging them to get their license initially, they're able to start making money with someone else's inventory. Just like, Mark and Steve push their properties. If you have a buyer for one of their properties, you can legally make money on it. They get what they want, you get, a cut, and you start making money right away without actually going out and tying up that property and having the cash to do so yourself.
He's got a question.
We have a question.
Sure.
That's actually for me. I'm curious, you mentioned that in order to add money to the price in Florida, that you have to have a license. Is that something that is specifically addressed in the statute there? Because normally you can assign a contract unless it's expressly stated otherwise.
Right.
Now, as a matter of course, we generally buy properties and actually fund the closings. We aren't pure wholesalers. And I understand if you are a pure wholesaler that is something that can be construed as performing agency duties without a license. But in my course, if I am in Tennessee, if you are a purchaser of real estate, then you can assign a contract and you can simply raise the price and it's not a problem.
Right, that's exactly legal, but you have the property under contract. I'm talking about people who do not have the property.
Okay, gotcha.
It's not their property. Yes. The only way for them to make money on it is to connect your property to a buyer.
Sure, that's right. You have to have an equitable interest in the property, and that is a marketable interest. Okay.
Right. So without that marketable interest, the only way to do so would be to have a real estate license, and then you could start making money, on other people's off-market properties. Exactly. So as you develop your own list and your own things, having the license would legally allow you to do that. Otherwise, you're totally, what you're doing is exactly what I'm doing, totally legit. So the other lie that, investors are always stepping over, pennies and dollars, to save pennies. They don't invest in themselves and they don't think that they're losing out because they don't do it. And so one of the lies is, I don't need mentors, seminars, gurus, courses, clubs. I don't need any of that to be successful. True, but the real truth is you must invest in yourself to obtain the expert guidance and be successful. So there's just a level of success and income that one's going to make. When someone invests in themselves, they're obviously going to make more money. Corporations have the 10% rule on research and development, and they're going to spend 10% of their revenue getting more education and going and getting more research and development and growing their company and their business. And, investors don't think like that. They think, how much can I get for free? And, and their income is a reflection of their mindset. So if they were to say, well, I want to earn $1 million a year. Well, how much, based on the 10% rule, should I invest in myself and my education if I want to make this much more money? If I want to make $100,000 a year, what should I be spending on myself? So if you're spending, $1,000 a year or $500 a year, then it's easy to see why you're only making $10,000 a year in this hobby, because it's simply a hobby. It's not, even your hobbies, you spend more money than that. So, I think investors that want to be serious about real estate investing and actually make a living at it and turn their financial situations around, they have to take it seriously and apply that same 10% rule. There's a saying down here, and you guys probably have it too. Oh, that deal's a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer, and I love to hear that, because I feel like, if you have no brain, you'll do it. And there's just not a lot of research going into something. They're just going, yeah, let's do that deal. And at the end of the day, there's no money in it because they didn't do the research. And I'm always teaching my students, you've got to be on your A game. You have to be a student of the game. You've got to know it better than everyone else you're competing against. And you've got to, 80% of the deal is getting there first. So it's, it's a numbers game. It's always statistics, and the numbers never lie. And I know, Mark, you like to say that too, I heard.
I was going to say, was that a dig on me, that a no-brainer, that I just randomly just say I'll buy things?
Oh, no.
Yeah. Because I know a good deal when I see it. Steve knows I know a good deal when I see it.
Yeah, no. And that's how you know somebody is sincere. They've been there, done that. So anyway, the last one I'll talk about is, if it feels like a good deal, go for it. That's what people are doing. They're jumping into business and jumping into deals based on their emotions rather than based on the numbers, and using formulas. So any smart system is going to use rules, formulas, and remove the emotion from the situation and from the deal. Every time we've made any type of costly mistake, any of us, we can usually go back and pinpoint it to an emotion that, we allowed to get involved. We had to have the deal. We were greedy. We were, salivating, whatever it was, or we showed up and there was other competition, and immediately, we had to beat out the competition. whatever it was. I've been into houses that I thought, oh wow, I would live here, and just thinking I would live here means it's worth more or something. We can get the emotions messed up with the rules and the formulas. And so, for example, I've got a simple formula here that is probably common sense for you guys, your savvy group. But this is just based on a home being worth $250,000. And here's the little hard money calculations here for someone who's got cost of money. Based on 4 months at 12% interest, 3 points, and 65% loan to value, this person could borrow approximately $162,500 on a $250,000 retail value home, this investor. So once you subtract cost of repairs of, let's say, $40,000, your points, your payments, your carrying costs, 2% of the buy price to buy, 5% of the sale price to sell, that's based on only giving away 3% commission. In a potential profit, let's say the investor wants to make $40,000, well then he needs to pay around $111,000 for this home, just based on this hypothetical 4-month figure. So right here, just a simple formula could, get yourself in check if you're looking at a home that's potentially worth $250,000 when it's fixed up. And so by using formulas, you can take the emotion out of things and you can just make the smarter decisions. And then if you can get the price anywhere close to this figure, well, then you go see the house. I teach a lot of new investors, when you're new, go see the houses, go touch them, feel them, smell them, get your hands dirty and really see them. And as you get busier, you're really going to be having to analyze everything over a computer, sending out your offers, and then going and seeing what comes close and where you get your counter offers at. And I think you guys pretty much work the same way. And so
Larry shook his head on that last thing. Larry, why'd you shake your head no on that?
Well, I'm not shaking my head no. I'm just trying to add those figures up.
Okay.
It seems like there was money missing somewhere.
That money's in my pocket.
Okay. As long as it's accounted for.
It shouldn't be, but you never know. Anyway, guys, I know that I don't have a lot of time to be here, but what we also do is on YouTube, we have a channel called Palm Beach Flippers, and we do tape our renovations, and you can subscribe to that channel absolutely free. And we have a new episode that goes out every week. And when you subscribe, you just get a quick email that we've posted a new episode. So the properties that we buy down here, whether we're flipping them or renting them or whatever, we tape the renovations almost like you're watching an HGTV series, except we're talking to you like an investor would. So if we have open a wall and find an issue, we're going to talk to you about how to resolve that issue at an inexpensive cost, and how to do things inexpensively and without cutting corners. We talk about permitted jobs, unpermitted work. We talk about all of it. And sometimes we just do quick things called flip tips, where contractor called and said, hey, we did this and we've got a problem. Can you meet us out here? And we'll tape that and we'll publish it here on the channel. So we find it to be helpful.
I'd love to be able to pop that on ours. All your logos are on there, right? Which we want. Can we pop that? Yeah. But we pop some of that stuff on our website for you? Sure. Yeah, I would love to do that.
Yeah, sure. I think under is looked at the stuff and approved it. And then anyone's interested in the book, Exposing the Truth Behind the Lies of Real Estate Investing, we go over 10 total topics, and you could pick it up at our website, 32S Realty. I also, when Mark talked about the deals, steals, and opportunities we did on earlier today, at my website, 32S Realty, you can get on my email list, and then you would receive an email of our properties that we send out every week, that we'll be talking about on Wednesdays and whatnot, if you're looking for properties down here anyway. But our company basically facilitates investors from anywhere. So if you want to buy something, have it fixed up and rented, or have it fixed up and flipped, we can oversee all of that for anyone.
Hey Sharon, can you walk through that bigger property that you had down there real quick?
Sure. Do I have this one? All right. Let me get to it. So this bigger property is a four-bedroom, four-and-a-half, three-car garage home in Wellington in a gated community called Versailles. It's a really beautiful community. All the homes look kind of castle-y like this, if you will. Anyway, this home would rent for around $3,400 a month. The dues are $418 a month. It's offered at $450. It's worth about $550. It really needs nothing, I'm told. I have not gone to see it myself. It's on the pricey side of the range. For us, I was talking earlier today when we were together for the Steals and Deals. This is a type of property that I would only want to get involved in if it had a pool, and this one doesn't. Pool homes are a big deal down here, and anything that sells for over $300,000 retail, I will only take it if it has a pool, unless no one has a pool but except the community, or there's some reason why they don't have pools in this particular neighborhood and it's not holding up the sale. Otherwise, I really want a pool, or I want a much reduced price. So the return isn't great on this particular property, but the appreciation is going to be definitely here in this area of Wellington, more so than anywhere else, besides the equity you would have right now. And so this home was built in 05, 06 era, and it's a distressed sale. But as you can see, it's in really nice shape.
Sharon, what do the HOA dues? What do you get for that $400 a month in the HOA?
Well, it's a gated community, so you get actual, security at the gate. The amenities there, it has a big clubhouse and a workout room and a pool. It's really beautiful, like a resort. And does that then qualify? I'm sorry. Does that qualify then? You were saying you wouldn't buy a house if you didn't have a pool unless there was a community pool. So does that fit in your model that way?
That house should have a pool.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
Well, and the pool's over there costs you about 60. That pool there in that place would cost at least 60,000.
Right.
Put a decent pool in there.
Absolutely.
Well, you want a quality pool.
Sounds like a liner.
But I wonder why they don't have it. I wonder though why they don't have it. There's the setback lines.
Yeah. So really, the house is not a deal. It's almost market value because the pool's going to cost $60,000-$70,000 to put it anyway. So.
Right. There are. Obviously, there's some people that don't want a pool, like the people two different owners who bought this one, but. I think that's one of the reasons why they ended up calling an investor to buy it, is because they couldn't sell it. Besides their own distress, So.
All right.
Any questions, anyone?
Where's Wellington, Florida?
It's just west of West Palm Beach. Like I'm sitting in West Palm. I get in my car and drive 5 miles west. I'm in Wellington.
No, it's away from the ocean. So. Actually, that first condo is probably like 10-15 minutes from being on the beach, swimming. This one is probably a half hour from swimming at the beach. Right, Sharon?
Everything is pretty close to the beach in South Florida.
Yeah. Well, these kind of houses we buy quite often. I mean, this is the A group here. This is not. We don't buy. I buy I'm the slumlord of the group here. I'm the $30,000. My old broker down in Florida was $60,000 or less. We look for and buy a lot of them. So that's what I did.
Well, anything I put out at $100,000. Well, I do have another deal right now. I just didn't have a chance to put it on the webinar, but I've got a townhouse.
Hold this for your people.
I'm sorry?
I was going to. You're holding this with a good deal for your people. I understand, Sharon.
No, I didn't. I thought it. It's $165,000. The comps are $200 to $220. It's in great shape. It would rent for $1,600, $1,500 a month. The dues are $333 a month, and it's in a gated community in Boynton Beach.
Boynton Beach is nice.
Quick question.
Marcus.
Quick question here. I didn't get what you said that the market value of that house is. I see it's offered at $450. What is the market value again?
Probably around five.
For $550, okay, okay.
Why isn't it listed?
Listed or sold. You have a contract on this for $450?
No less.
Well, yeah.
Okay, that's what you're offering us to, okay.
Right. You can pay more if you like.
So 325 she has an offer for a house. Okay.
So Mark, on a house like that, or Larry, you guys, what would you, just if we're playing with play money right now, what would you go in and offer on a house like that if the comps were at 500, but you know that you got to put in 500 on a pool or 50,000 on a pool, and let's just take into reserves 15,000 for fix-up?
Well, first you have to figure out, since it's a gated community, I was in Orlando just before New Year's last year, and I was in a gated community, house almost similar to that, had a nice pool, and they had the whole upstairs, the 4 bedrooms upstairs, all with key locks on it, and they Airbnb'd every room daily. And they bought the house specifically for Airbnb. Now, if you can do that in this community, that makes a whole lot of difference what you would offer, because your income, you're not renting the thing for $2,800 or $33, whatever it goes for. But the pool is going to be everything that you have to put in. So, and I'm telling you, I mean, you can put a pool in for $25,000 on a $150,000 house. That house there, you're going to have to put brick or stuff. So it's going to be another $70,000. I would offer basically what she paid for it, or less, and I would, we couldn't take it at your price. It would have to be more for a person who would live in it.
What's that price?
Yeah, I know that.
I know what the price is. I know what she paid for it. We all know what she paid for it. Yeah, so we would have to get that thing at 375 or whatever to make it any sense for an investor. It'd be great for somebody who wants to live in it.
What Mark is saying is absolutely true. So we're marketing. This is not my deal. Somebody brought this to me to sell. I have a very big database, so a lot of people just bring me their deal and I sell it for them, and we split whatever the difference is between what they have it and what I sell it for. So
does the house actually have the ability to have a pool? I mean, the setbacks in the back?
No.
Okay, there we go, right there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, there's no golf course there? It's not on a golf course?
No, this lot is
nothing.
small, the backyard's small, so I'm marketing it for them to retail people. And
this would be
sell it.
investor grade stuff. But it's nice to look at. It's nice to look at and determine what is investor grade stuff and what is not investor grade stuff. Because this lady here, this guy here, young guy, remember he had his mother working, and she was working so hard, and he was like yelling at her. And he had 2 of these houses in the same subdivision. And he was, not only he rented the 4 upstairs rooms, and he had his mother living in some closet down the first floor, doing all the cooking, cleaning, and everything. They had a pool with like a cabana you buy from Big Lots. There's cabana sofas with a little roof inside the screen room, and rented that out for $30 a night. And see, a kid slept outside there. Of course, it was wintertime, but still, winter in Florida is nice. And rented that out for $30 a night.
Wow.
So it all depends on what you can do there. And again, back to the condo docs or the association docs.
I seriously doubt they're gonna let them do that here, but you never know.
Well, anyway, this is what we want to try to bring every Wednesday, this stuff like this, just to get the juices flowing, And if we can start doing this in 10 different cities, get some downtown Philly stuff, get some Chicago stuff, get some Texas stuff, it'll be so fabulous, So anyway, when I come down there, Sharon, I want to give you one of these brand new, first off the print groundhogs. That's our logo, a groundhog shirt. But right now, we're going to give them out to our. These guys been coming to every meeting since we got here. I don't know if those are going to fit you guys.
I need 3X.
Yeah, well then here I'm gonna have to wait. And you too, probably.
You got 2X, you can do it.
Dennis, are you an XL or an X?
He's a medium. He's a medium.
Well, we're an X, but maybe.
Yeah, here. Oh, there you go.
Oh, man.
And then here's one for the skinny little guy in the back.
Oh, man, look at this.
All right, I'll get some bigger ones for the real man. I'll get some bigger shirts. Sharon, I'll bring you down one for you and your husband there when I come down and see you in a couple weeks. It's our first time we give out these groundhog shirts. So. Well, if there's nothing else, we want to thank you very much for your imparting your wisdom on us. I'm going to look up these books you have. And I'm going to pick up a couple copies. I'll bring them on down so you can sign them for me.
All right,
And
guys.
do you use 1031 exchanges or self-directed IRAs when you do a lot of your stuff? Both?
We haven't done a 1031 exchange at this point, but we do a lot of investing with the IRAs.
Dave Foster, my 1031 exchange guy from Tampa, I did 80 of them with him. Matter of fact, we just did one today. That's the beauty of green. We try to bring all these little things that nobody ever teaches you. I mean, you sit here and you listen every Wednesday night to all these great educators like yourself, and you're blown away by what you don't know. How many, since she did that, I mean, I went out and, Dennis, he moved $40,000 over to a Roth, self-directed IRA. We're moving money over. Everybody, and we knew about it for years. We knew about 1031 exchanges and Roth IRAs, and we didn't do anything about it. And now by us having these classes, even we are blown away by what we didn't do, forgot to do, or too lazy to do, or whatever. Larry just tells us great stuff about different mortgages. As many mortgages as you think you learn. I learned so much more stuff when Larry talks. Brandon with social media. Les is a huge auction buyer. Of course, Steve's a huge auction buyer. Dennis talks about his crypto coin, which, it's all fantastic investment opportunities. And again, it's all about learning. So thank you very much for being here. We'll see you next Wednesday morning at 10 o'clock our time.